customs, it has left very few traces in modern life. It is true that witches and wise men may still be found in certain districts, and that various forms of magic continue to be practiced more or less secretly in towns as well as villages. But widespread fear, once inspired, is a thing of the past. So thoroughly has the ancient specter been exorcised that the majority tend to regard the whole tradition as little more than a proof of our ancestors' credulity. And there are many who sincerely believe that no witches ever in fact existed outside the excited and overheated imagination of their enemies. It has flourished in all the countries and in all ages, and its rites and practices are curiously similar wherever they are found. Laws of sympathetic magic do not vary, whether they are followed by savage tribesmen or civilized Europeans whose curiosity has led them into strange paths. The picture of sorcery, the colors are a little less violent than they are in some other places. Some of the darker manifestations found elsewhere are happily absent, and punishment meted out to convicted prisoners are less brutal than in some other countries. Torture, for instance, was only rarely employed. Though much was done that came very near to it, execution was not as numerous as supposed. It appears that God hath appointed for a supernatural sign of the monstrous impiety of witches, that the martyr shall refuse to receive them in her bosom, that have shaken them off the sacred water of baptism, and willfully refuse the benefit thereof. This, though frowned upon by many learned men and divines, was undoubtedly the general belief of his time. The safeguards which surrounded the legal water ordeal had largely disappeared in the 17th century, and swimming a witch was often as much a popular pastime as a genuine attempt to discover the crime of sorcery. A rope tied round her waist for purpose of rescue should she sink. Even with this precaution, drowning was not avoided. The accused naturally tried to sink if they could, and occasionally some helpful individual would attempt to push her down with a pole, a rough and ready form of assistance which must have often resulted in bruising, if not actually stunning, the beneficiary. Many floated and were either proclaimed witches then and there, or were ducked again at a later date. Swam like a cork, a piece of paper, an empty barrel, though they strove to sink. inspirer, if not the actual instigator of witch persecutions of the early century. But in this, he has been maligned. His subjects require little persuasion to the work of hunting, and the whole trend of the time was a general intolerance and harshness in all that concerns spiritual matters. The reasons for the long-standing misconception are not, however, difficult to see. He came from a country where witches had always been more harshly treated than where he was now, and where the idea of worshipping covens was more generally accepted. He himself believed and published his famous book, which was in part refutation on skeptical writings. In the second year, necromancy and the feeding or rewarding of familiars were mentioned for the first time, and the penalties for various offenses were increased. But he himself was far less credulous than the majority of his people. If he believed wholeheartedly in the existence, he was slow to apply that belief in particular cases. The possibility of fraud or hysteria was always present in his mind. On several occasions, he exposed deception which had been accepted as truth by previous examiners. His interventions were always on the side of common sense, and if he rather prided himself on his detective powers, he may well be allowed the satisfaction of that small vanity in return for saving lives. He sharply reproved the judges who condemned 9 persons on the single word of a boy, and it was probably owing to his influence that the number of executions for his belief during his reign were so small.